welcome back to Digital Art with Kenzie. Today we're diving into the hilarious Stone Age world of one of the most iconic animated characters in television history. Yes, you guessed it. We're talking about none other than Fred Flintstone. Fred and his prehistoric pals from the classic animated show The Flintstones have been legendary in the world of animation. But did you know that there's so much more to Fred's story than meets the eye? From his humble beginnings in the 1960s to his lasting impact on pop culture, the history of Fred Flintstone is as rich and funny as the character himself. I used to love watching the Flintstones, like every single morning. It was either that or Looney Tunes. My dad put me on the old cartoons. I didn't care for the new ones as much, but you get me those two, and I will sit down and eat my bologna and my eggs and my yogurt, watching that every single morning before school. I loved it. The Flintstones debuted on September 30th, 1960, as the primetime animated television show, the first one, actually. Created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbara, the animated sitcom was set in the prehistoric town of Bedrock, where Fred and his family lived in a world full of Stone Age gadgets, dinosaurs, and prehistoric versions of modern-day conveniences. Fred, voiced by the legendary Alan Reed, was designed as the perfect blend of a lovable goofball and a hard-working family man. He was originally intended to be a mix of Homer Simpson and Ralph Cramden from The Honeymooners, both of whom were popular sitcom characters at the time. Fun fact, did you know that Fred's appearance was actually based on Homer Simpson's in some ways? It's said that Fred's characteristics of being a bit lazy, a loving father, and quick to anger were inspirations for The Simpsons' own Homer years later. It's kind of crazy to think that the characters we associate with The Simpsons had its roots in Fred Flintstone. I never would have guessed that, but now that I read about it, I can kind of see where they got that from, because there are some similarities if you think about it. Let's look into the world Fred came into. The 1960s were an interesting time for television and animation. While there were already some animated shows, The Flintstones was something completely revolutionary. Fred was the face of this new kind of show. His blue-collar persona was relatable to a wide audience, especially the people who were working hard during the post-war boom. The Flintstones didn't just entertain. It reflected the culture of the 1960s, from social changes to the challenges of family life in the modern world. Did you know that Fred's blue-collar nature was actually a direct commentary on American society in the 1960s? He represented the common man, someone trying to navigate the stresses of work, family, and personal aspirations while still maintaining his comedic charm. Fred Flintstone is a lot more than just a loud, often frustrated man. He's a loving husband to Wilma, a devoted father to Pebbles, and a hardworking employee at a rock quarry where he spends most of his days. But while he might have a short temper and a knack for getting himself in trouble, Fred is also a deeply loyal friend to his best bud, Barney Rubble, and a guy who always means well even if his plans tend to backfire. Little fun fact for you, whenever I was younger, I want to say I was maybe like 9, maybe 8, maybe 10, somewhere between 8 and 10, right? Me and my brother both decided that we wanted to get fish, like goldfish, like pet fish, you know? So we did that, and we went and got fish, I think from PetSmart or Walmart, one of the two. Somewhere where you shouldn't probably get pet fish. We got a little tank, got everything set up, and then my mom was like, so what are you going to name these fish? Well, we got 3 of them, because, you know, fish don't last very long most of the time. And so we wanted to make sure that we had 3, and then they could be friends, and they weren't lonely. So I named one of them Larry. Don't ask me why, I just wanted to name it Larry. I was weird. Then we named one Pebbles, after the Flintstone Pebbles, and then I cannot for the life of me remember the other one. This story basically all intertwined to come back to the fact that Pebbles is Fred Flintstone's daughter in the Flintstones. In the show, Fred's relationship with Wilma is a central focus. They bicker like an old married couple, that's for sure. If you've watched the show, you understand. But their love for each other is always evident. And of course, we can't forget about Pebbles, their adorable daughter, who is introduced in the show's later seasons. Fred's paternal instincts make him more relatable, showing his softer side to his tougher exterior. Fred's character and the Flintstones as a whole broke new ground in the world of television. At the time, animation was largely thought to be something for children and Saturday mornings. But the Flintstones was revolutionary. It was a primetime show that was aimed at a broader audience. It was one of the first animated series that targets adults as well as kids, using humor and themes that could appeal to a wide range of viewers. Honestly, the more that I think about it while I'm doing these series, the more that I realize cartoons are either like really, really young kid based or like really, really stupid, or they're like The Simpsons and American Dad, where it's a lot more adult humor that you wouldn't want a kid watching. It doesn't seem like it's anywhere in the middle. I feel like The Flintstones is one of the few cartoons adults and kids can actually both enjoy watching. Did you know The Flintstones was originally pitched as a cartoon version of The Honeymooners? And the show's early premise was closely modeled on the sitcoms of the 1950s and 1960s. Much like The Honeymooners, Fred was portrayed as a blue-collar worker who faced comedic challenges in his home life and his work. In fact, Fred's catchphrase, "Yabba Dabba Doo," was originally meant to be his trademark line, much like Ralph Cramden's famous line, "Honeymooners to the moon." I can't reenact how he says that because I'm going to be honest, I've never seen The Honeymooners. I have no idea what it is. It just talked about it a lot in like the research that I found for The Flintstones. So if anybody has seen it and knows the similarities, please let me know in the comments because I have no idea. Yabba Dabba Doo. This simple yet hilarious catchphrase is perhaps the most memorable part of Fred's character. It became his signature exclamation of excitement, often heard when Fred is embarking on a new adventure or celebrating a triumph. But Fred has other iconic phrases too, like "Wilma," which he would shout when he needed Wilma's attention, usually because he was in trouble. Fred's character is also a fun-loving, adventurous-seeking guy despite his imperfections. His constant desire to impress others, his schemes, and his bursts of anger are all part of his personality. Whether he's trying to get out of a difficult situation, playing with his pet dinosaur Dino, or engaging in a good-natured prank on his neighbor, Fred's antics are always entertaining. Fred's world wouldn't be complete without his loving wife Wilma and his best friend Barney Rubble. Their friendship is one of the core elements of the show, and the duo's bond has inspired generations of TV friends. Barney, voiced by Mel Blanc, is Fred's lovable and sometimes more sensitive counterpart. Though Fred often gets the two in trouble, Barney's calm demeanor provides the perfect balance, and the interaction between Fred and Barney, full of classic comedic moments, are some of the best scenes of the show. Wilma is the brains of the family and often serves as a voice of reason when Fred's impulsive actions get them in hot water. Together, Fred and Wilma's dynamic as a married couple establish a relatable and timeless family unit which still resembles with viewers today. I don't know why I said resonates with viewers today. Did you know that the Flintstones' pet dinosaur, Dino, was also voiced by Mel Blanc as well? The same actor who voiced many characters along with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Talk about some versatile voice acting. Like, I could maybe do like 2 characters and that's it. So, good for him. Fred Flintstone's cultural impact cannot be overstated. Over the years, Fred has become a pop culture icon, appearing in countless commercials, TV specials, and even films. His catchphrase is instantly recognizable, and he's often referenced in other TV shows and from sitcoms to late-night TV shows. Fred was also featured in 2 live-action movies, The Flintstones from 1994 and The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas in 2000, both of which starred John Goodman as Fred. While the first film was a major hit, the second one didn't do as well, but it still added to Fred's legacy in the live-action realm. And let's not forget that Fred was part of a larger Flintstones universe. The show gave rise to numerous spin-offs, including the Flintstone Kids series, and even a series called The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, which famously paired up Fred with the futuristic Jetson family. Fred's legacy lives on in everything from clothing lines to toys, and he continues to be a beloved character worldwide. Now, let's dive into some fun and quirky facts about Fred that you might not know. Did you know that Fred was originally a garbage man before he became a worker at a rock quarry? I didn't know that until I started reading and doing research for this video. One of the unique aspects of Fred's world is his car, a Stone Age vehicle that he powered by using his feet. It's one of the most iconic vehicles in animation, and it was actually inspired by early human history and the idea of foot-powered transformation. Fred and Wilma's dynamic, while exaggerated, really speaks to the traditional family setup of the 1950s and the 1960s. Fred is a provider while Wilma manages the household, but together they form a classic nuclear family. After the original series ended in 1966, Fred Flintstone's adventures didn't stop. The Flintstones franchise experienced a major resurgence in the 1980s when syndication made the show accessible to a new generation. Suddenly, Fred was everywhere again, from Saturday morning cartoons to VHS tapes. The Flintstones became a staple of childhood for many, and Fred's adventures continued in spin-offs, feature films, and even theme parks. I did not know about the theme park thing, but that's kind of cool. Fred Flintstone's influence on the world of animation and pop culture is enormous. He was not only the first animated character to star in a primetime TV show, but also paved the way for a long time of animated sitcoms that followed, including The Jetsons, The Simpsons, and Family Guy. Fred's impact also stretches into the world of fashion. Yabba Dabba Doo became a catchphrase that transcended the show, appearing in everything from TV shirts to Halloween costumes. His characteristic orange shirt with black spots is also a go-to Halloween costume. Did you know that Fred Flintstone even inspired real-life rock concerts? There's a legendary concert called the Flintstones Yabba Dabba Doo World Tour that featured a special mix of performances, music, and of course, animation. Who would have thought Fred would rock the world of music as well? Not me, not I. I am not one to think that he would have had a concert, but you go, boo-boo. And that's a wrap on our deep dive of the history of Fred Flintstone. From his humble beginnings in the 1960s to his massive influence on animation and pop culture, Fred's journey has been nothing short of legendary. His loud voice, heart of gold, and his unforgivable catchphrase make him a character for the ages. So, what's your favorite Fred Flintstone moment? Do you prefer his antics with Wilma and Barney, or his shenanigans at the rock quarry? Be sure to let me know. Also, if you enjoyed learning about Fred and the Flintstones, don't forget to like and subscribe for more art content, and I'll see you in the next video.